Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Eliali. In this incarnation, I am here today to talk about the new moon in Cancer that we are going to have on June 25th. This happens in the degree 4 with 7 minutes of Cancer. So, in that area, in that house of our natal chart, we are starting this new cycle of 6 months that goes until January of 2026 with the full moon in Cancer. But also involves February because the conjunction between Saturn and Neptune in Aries, it is perfected on February 2026. So this process that we are going through right now connects us with that moment. So let's go back to what the energy of Cancer means. I've been talking a lot about this in the last videos, but this new moon is an extension of what we have been transiting these days. So when we talk about Cancer, we are referring to the archetype of the mother, from this experience of taking care, protection, the shelter, covering our emotional needs and the physical ones for the nutrition and the growth of a person in different phases of their experience. Could be the baby, the child, the teenager, the adult. So Cancer speaks to us of the family, the one that we pacted before incarnating and the one that we choose to create and to sustain after that. It is also part of that. It is linked with a contract before incarnation. So the people that make us feel at home, with whom we share a nourishing relationship. This energy, it is also about memories, experiences of the past, of this or other lives, that if they are coming back or we are remembering them, it is because there is a level of integration that we need to do in this present moment. Whether this is to give a closure to that or to reconnect with experiences that have a purpose right here, right now. Because we could approach the past from understanding a greater sense of what we have transited, but also we could approach the past from an attachment to the negative or the positive experiences. So Cancer is our emotional core. Also the circumstances that molded our identity in this incarnation, the situations that we absorbed in this primary way, our gestation, the relationship with the mother, because it is the portal of contact with life on earth. It is the vehicle through which we incarnate in here. So after of that, it is the relationship with the father. And with relationship, I am talking about whatever thing it is manifested, because there could be people that were raised by other fathers or mothers that weren't the biological ones. So that has also an impact in the memory of the cells of the person. So the environment that we have experimented, our culture, whatever thing we absorbed and therefore conditions us, whether this is from a negative or positive perception, truly everything that happened has a higher reason, that it is related to what the soul had to incarnate. But there are conditionings that are pretty limitant, and we still associate them with things that are very, very familiar, and that's why we inhabiting them, and that's why we can repeat them. So the conditioning turns into a limitation when it goes in opposition to what the soul needs, to follow our evolutionary process. That paradoxically, evolution, it is reminding our true divine essence, always in new levels of depth. This is an infinite process. So this lunation, it is given in a conjunction with Jupiter in Cancer. Therefore, this indicates that there is a wonderful door of expansion in here, for the growth in that house where we have Cancer, to connect with what we recognize that is nourishing in our lives, that is nurturing, and to feed that. Jupiter in Cancer, it is going to remind us, as any other position of Jupiter, that expansion, it is produced from the inside. It is not something that comes from the outside, or that is manifested in a magic way. Or even though Jupiter is very related with miracles, but miracles are coming from the seeking of alignment, internal alignment, both whether this is mental, emotional, in intentions, because the more that we are advancing in our refinement, to put it in some way, in our path, we are able to identify in ways that are more subtle every time if there are intentions that are coming from a need from the soul, or that respond to aspects of the identity. Because when those things are coinciding, there is no conflict. The thing is when they aren't doing that, and all that is happening inside, we take that into action, and that is what gives form to reality, to material reality. So this event, it is occurring in these squares with Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So this is presenting a conflict. I am mixing the languages again. So sorry. So this is presenting a conflict that could be manifested in different ways for each one of us. And this is a calling for the integration of energies to reconciliate internally, so we can move forward. But I don't want to put this as a a specific situation that there could be a specific situation for many people, but this is more like a process. I want you to see this as a process that is going to be developed in the next months, and that could be connecting several circumstances. So these manifestations, they have to do with many things that I've been talking in the last videos. For example, letting go of expectations, denials, illusions that are not aligned with the higher sense of our path, to take decisions with responsibility of opening that path for us. And probably these decisions have to do with facing fears to not feeling capable of doing the things that we are proposing to ourselves, fears to the challenges, fears to leave a known space, a space where we have felt that we belonged once, to do our independent way. Because the Aryan energy involves frequently actions with courage, and courage emerges when we are facing our fears. It is not in the absence of feeling fear. So letting go of these expectations that are linking us to situations that don't offer growth, or to fantasies of that life has to bring the experiences of growth without us having to do anything. Well, that is not compatible with this, because with Saturn there is always a labor of responsibility, of sustained action, of rectification of what was in imbalance, and of boundaries. There is something that we are going to put a boundary, so other areas to restrict, so other areas can grow. For example, I cannot sustain myself in relationships that are not nourishing me, and waiting for people that can really be synchronized with that thing that I am expecting, because I am choosing to stay in spaces and to link in myself with certain kind of energy. If I want a project that is aligned with my soul to grow, I have to do an investment of energy, resources, and to put a boundary to limit those things in other areas of life. It is part of maturity to recognize this. It is part of maturity with Saturn and Neptune in conjunction. Understanding that being an adult is not incarnating an archetype specifical, that for many of us was, many of us we were conditioned of, incarnating this kind of archetypes. It is about being responsible of the needs of our soul at this moment, at this present moment, with Jupiter in Cancer. Neptune is inviting us to an inner connection, a greater spiritual connection, because we are in a process of ascension. The light is entering on earth, and the entire world is putting in evidence this need of individual reconnection, so we can rebalance the collective, so we can produce the planetary transformation. Because Neptune and Saturn are connecting with Pluto in Aquarius, retrograde in Aquarius. So we have to understand that these expectations, if we are attaching ourselves to expectations that are not evolutionary, it is because they are coming from needs of our inner child that are not being covered, and that we have to learn to do so from our inner adult, to manage them and to cover them, so we can really reconnect with true dreams and purposes that are not only expanding our own potential, but also they bring benefits to other people. So this conjunction, Saturn and Neptune, represents this very, very important individual process that each one of us has to do in independence of what is not nourishing us anymore. And these places, these spaces of belonging could be something that is very symbolical. For some people, could be a specific space in the physical world, but there could be programmings and things that we have to let go of to sustain an inner connection more elevated, and so we can materialize desires of the soul that are being born from the soul. But this requires patience, focusing the process, and letting go of the results, the attachment to results, because future takes form while we action right here, right now. So these squares could also imply crisis of what we believed that life should be, a crisis of beliefs, to open ourselves to new revelations, to a truth that truly allows us to grow. For some people, this could imply, to not sustain familiar connections. Perhaps they have learned that the family is first, but that doesn't apply for every situation. For other people, this could involve, a work space that they have sustained for a long time, and right now they have realized that it is not making them good. Could be also discovering that they have aligned it with dogmas or ideologies that gave security, because that is what the mind does. Establishing ourselves in structures, both mental and physical, that give us security, but we have to let go of them in different ways in order to grow. So, and to build other different structures. So there could be, a realization that there are people that have aligned with those ideologies or dogmas, and they are actually building a barrier by sustaining them, a barrier to comprehend themselves and to comprehend other people. Because, I've seen this a lot of times. People that are believing to fight for a positive cause, and when they are very, very closed in their dogmatic ideas, they end up losing empathy, and they are attacking the person that they have in front of them. And the positive cause loses purpose when we are entering in those kind of states. It is not about fighting, it is about concrete decisions, because with the energy of Aries, it is about concrete decisions. We cannot stay among two paths. And we will have to learn through those decisions when we are acting from love, and when we are acting from impulsivity and the conditionings of our ego. So Sun, Moon, and Jupiter are creating sextiles with Mars in Virgo. I mentioned this too. This is very, very nice to descend to Earth, to stay more present, to stay in touch with reality. Because when the Neptunian energy could be flying in the world of potential. And the potentials, again, they are coming from today. Whatever thing our reality is right here, right now, it is important to accept what it is, to be in touch with what it is, and from that space we start the construction of this cycle. So we can give an order, we can separate projects that serve and projects that are not working, the habits that are contributing and the ones that not. We can generate this organization from the little things, which doesn't mean to lose ourselves in the details and the excessive criticism, but these are sextiles. These are good opportunities, fluid opportunities. So this is one of the most spiritual things that we can exercise. Many people believe that spirituality is, doing an astral trip, astral trip. I don't know how it is it called right now in English. So practical spirituality, the one that genuinely leads us to grow, it is in our actions. This means that the astral trip, I don't think that this is the term, but I don't remember right now. The astral trip, it is totally perfect while we find a function of revelation of light in our path. I mean, if we are meditating and we access to other dimensions and we access to information that we can apply to our experience or share it for other people to get to improve their lives, that is very cool. But if we are meditating to run away from our reality, that is Neptune in a distorted energy. Or with Jupiter, if we are, making trips abroad to not deal with our challenges, that are different ways of not facing what we really need to face, so our experience can really change. Beyond this, we have a Yud, a configuration that is, or a finger of God, and a configuration that is formed by a sextile between the planets in Cancer and Mars in Virgo, and they are making in conjunctions and quincunxes to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And also, we have Mercury in the last degrees. I'm explaining the technicisms, but I'm going to make the introduction. We have Mercury in the last degrees of Cancer making an opposition with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. When Mercury moves to Leo, it is about to move to Leo. There it is the moment where it will perfect the tension with Pluto. So this means that this beginning is very, very powerful. There are destiny scenes. This is what the finger of God tells us for each one of us, that they are going to call us to these constant adjustments, because the inconjunctions are aspects of discomfort. We have to integrate energies that are not compatible at all. So we have to integrate this thing that helps us to create home, in and out, the actions that can actually lead ourselves to that, in the transformation, the power of assuming new forms of freedom. They don't have to do with wanting to control. They don't have to do with the other extreme, feeling controlled by someone or something. It is about recognizing that the true freedom of the soul, which is the only freedom, has a price, which is the death of old ways of inhabiting our reality. If we want humanity start to function in a cooperative way, I don't know if I'm inventing that word, as a great family, as a great cosmic family, each one of us, we have to leave physical spaces or aspects of the identity that aren't allowing us to expressing ourselves from our authenticity, to occupy the function, in the planetary network. And this could be shaky in the collective level, but once and again, we have to learn to put a look, to see this with a higher perspective, and to return to what we can do from our space. At last but not least, I'm going to expand on this the next week. Mercury in Cancer, in the last degrees of Cancer, it is creating a conjunction with Chiron. It is creating a trine with the North Node and the South Node in Virgo, the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, and with and a sextile with Uranus in Taurus. So this could activate a lot our wounds, the most associated with our own Chiron. I always recommend to look up for your own Chiron in your natal chart. And could be the wounds of injustice, of invalidation, of not feeling seen, the fears, the insecurities, it could emerge the experiences that have caused that. And therefore, remember this at the time that you are sustaining like discussions and exchanges of information with other people, that is Mercury. To remember that beyond the intention that people could have by, directing certain words, the others can also talk about their from their own wounds, and it is a lesson of recognizing when it is nourishing us, it is nurturing us to sustain those discussions, and when it is not. And Mercury, sorry, I have to get more comfortable. Mercury in these harmonic aspects with the nodes and with Uranus in Taurus, it is about precisely using these experiences to contribute with other people, using our pain as a bridge to contribute with other people. And also it is representing this impulse to generate changes, to take the highest path, the path of greater elevation for each one of us, even if we are dealing with that uncertainty, and to cultivate that inner peace in the decisions of detachment or the creative ideas that are leading us to the next level. Thank you, everyone, and see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.